Nigeria may come to an end if the world doesn't come to an end. But very valid question. I feared for Tinubu himself, for himself, from himself. I feared for the reputation of Nigeria.
So reactions keep pouring in over the press briefing or press conference by His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi 2 days ago. And not just that, the vice presidential candidate on the Labour Party, Ahmed Dati, also grant an interview with Arise Television, of which many people are not, okay with what he said concerning the behavior of the current administration and also how they were knocked out and the party's next move or line of action. Here is what he said before I go further to bring to you what happened in Imo State.
Nigeria may come to an end if the world doesn't come to an end. But very valid question. I feared for Tinubu himself, for himself, from himself. I feared for the reputation of Nigeria. You see, the international profile of global leaders has risen astronomically, to the extent that royals even discipline their own. Look at the profiles of gentlemen like Xi Jinping of China, all across the world. All of a sudden, we were faced with the dilemma of having to present to the world who our own president to be was. And I was one of those who knew that the answers were not good. The whole country would be put to shame. The last time I spoke, I nearly brought Tinubu's ambition to a screeching halt. This is evident by the events that followed immediately afterwards. One minister wrote the DSS on his company stationery. I don't know how that is possible. And another minister, skipped ECOWAS, skipped AU, and went all the way to Washington to report me. And Nobel laureate, a very, very senior citizen, inviting me to a national debate. And I'm not that smart enough, even though my dear good friend Chimamanda acted on my behalf. And then DSS coming out a week later, under duress, of course, you could see, to do the bidding of that minister. This shows they were scared. My simple point was that no constitution or any part thereof shall be breached in order to install a president. And if that is done, that presidency will remain unconstitutional. And I remain...
Labour Party. You see, when you look at what transpired, all of us already knew that this is how things will go. Eventually, if the president, if Ahmed Tinubu is being declared as a president, or even if Atiku or Obi was declared as the winner of the election and they go ahead to appeal the case in court, it is a norm in Nigeria already that once a person is being sworn in, that is it. It will be very difficult for anyone to be removed from the seat of office after he or she might have been sworn in as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is the reason why people like Femi Fanala, among many well-meaning Nigerians, have been calling for a constitutional court. In Ghana, in Kenya, and some of those neighboring African countries, they have what they call constitutional court. In the United States, 14 days after the election, every case about the election is over. Among other nations of the world does the same thing. But here in Nigeria, we find it very difficult because we don't want to do such things, because you see that evidence will be so overwhelming that like the one that happened in 2023, that the person may be kicked out. So they want to swell them in and have much more of power to control the judiciary that is supposed to be separated from the executive and legislatures, and watch each other's back to see who is trying to exhibit his excesses of power. Now, to Imo State. The Imo State governor, Hope Uzodinma, whom Nigerians believe to be the governor of the Supreme Court. They tag him the Supreme Court government. You could recall that in 2019, election was held in Imo State, of which the PDP candidate was declared the winner. But however, at the Supreme Court, he was removed, and Hope Uzodinma became the governor, after scoring or came distant third in that election. Don't forget that the same Supreme Court nullified the candidature of nullified APC from participating in that election. But however, they went ahead to declare Hope Uzodinma as the true winner of that election, which caused a lot of reaction. Now the re-election has come, and Hope Uzodinma is campaigning as if he is just contesting for the first time. Let's look at the statistic here. Since he got in as the governor of Imo State, for the past 4 years, there have been a lot of security challenges. One may say that security challenges in Imo State is not peculiar because it is a ravaging thing in Nigeria. But then, when you look at the issues between the opposition and the ruling All Progressive Congress in the state, as well as the past administration, you could discover that it is under this administration that all this happened. And as the #1 chief security officer of the state, just as he exhibit during the incident with the National Labour Union chairman, why didn't he use the same power, when security challenges came up in the states? According to them, in their narrative, they say that every attack on Immonites is not just for the opposition. It is to the ruling All Progressive Congress in the states. And they mention but few, some people who were attacked. For example, one of the chairman of the local government, among others that were mentioned, that have been attacked, by unknown government. If the attack is to your political party, are you trying to, put it that it is a political party issue? If it is political undertone or motivated, why can't you fish those people out, get them arrested and prosecuted? But that is not the case. Here was him yesterday campaigning at the campus, of which the student bull him out. It shows immensely that Hope Uzodinma is not really welcome in or received by the people of Imo State, as their attempts to make people to believe that he is doing well and he will win his re-election. Here is him at the campus where he was bullied by the students. High time that Nigerians, stand up and take up the country that belongs to them, just as His Excellency, the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, Ahmed Dati, rightly said. Until then, we continue to have people who don't really supposed to be in our political space, trying to govern our states and even federal affairs. What do you think about this? Let's have this conversation at the comment section. Remember, politicians don't really care about you, but about their personal interests. So when you jump up to defend them, just put that in mind while defending those politicians. Thank you, and my name remains Ariba Jari.